Welcome back. Hey, Technical Brad here. Okay, so our little project of today, we're going to change the oil on the engine of our David Brown 880 Select-O-Matic. This has the AD3-55 engine, and that is agricultural diesel, 3-cylinder, 55 cubic inches per cylinder. And we have our oil filler is here with a dipstick also in it. Our oil filter is up here in this canister, and our oil drain plug is down below. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing out and we're going to warm it up. You always want to warm your vehicle up, get the oil warmed up whenever you do an oil change on any of your vehicles. So we're going to run this a bit, get it warmed up, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to change the oil on it and show you how that's done. The 880 ran from 61 to 71. In 65 there was the complete design change of the models, and they went from red and yellow in 64 to the brown and white of 65. The 880 was replaced in 72 by the 885. Now the 885 and the 880 were pretty much identical. A lot of the parts were the same, not only the same part but the same part number. When I rebuilt this 880 back in 21, I replaced the rear main crankshaft seal because it had the original scroll type, and you wanted to upgrade that to the positive contact rope seal type. Well, that required a new housing. There's two housings on the back of that. They're aluminum housings. The part numbers were identical, and the one that I ended up getting was off of an 885, and it fit on there perfectly. A lot of the other parts are that way too. I've noticed looking at the numbers through the years. So a little bit of David Brown history there, the 880, the 885. So yeah, we're going to take this thing out. We're going to warm it up a bit, and then we will come back and we'll do an oil change on it. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to drain the oil out of our engine here. And so we got to break our plug loose. We have an 1 1/8" socket that goes on here. And we pop that and give it a little tug, and then it breaks loose. Now, I'm using a screener here to filter my oil. And the reason is I want to see if there's any large particles that might be in there. I don't believe there are, but we've got, this engine's got 250 hours on it. And we had our initial 50-hour oil change back in 22. And we did have little particles of the rope seal in it. And so we did another oil change about 100 hours or so later, and we didn't have anything in it. And this one as well is looking clean, so that's good. I just for safety, I want to double check it, because once it goes in the bucket, we're not going to be able to see anything in there. So we'll let this drain out a little bit, clean this up. So that's an easy way just to kind of filter the dirty oil out of there. Like so. And the next step will be to remove the filter. Now the engine is warm. We did run it. You should change your oil. You should, the wind's blowing here. You should warm the engine up. We had it out for about an hour doing some tree pruning earlier, so it's still warm, and that's what you want to change your oils on any of your engines whilst it's warm. As we can see, looks like we're pretty clean. It might be a little particle right there. So we'll let that drain a little bit more and then we'll pop off the oil filter. So we move up here to our oil filter, which is in this canister right here. We got a 5/8 wrench that fits on that. And we'll start loosening that up. The David Brown tractors are relatively easy from a service standpoint to get to everything, unless of course you got a Freeman loader on here, and the subframe of the loader makes it pretty difficult to get to anything. And we remove that, and inside is our filter, and we will take this over to the bench. Actually, I'm going to take it down here and we're going to dump it out. Most of the oil. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to look at what we got. As we see here, and we have a seal, a giant ring, O-ring. And it fits inside this groove right around here. Get this over here. So right around this outer groove, all the way around here, that's where your seal is. And you got to take the old one out before you put the new one in. And so I take a sharp point, poke it in there. I have to move my hands here a little bit. There we go. Hook into that, and once you get a hold of it, you pull it out. And there it is. We're going to discard that because the new filter comes with one of those. And we'll clean this off. Debris down there. Unfortunately, we got a bunch of oil in there that ran down on us there, but that's all right. We get it. We got a little bit on the ground there. I'll have to get some oil dry on that. All right, very good. Okay, so we have our oil can here. It's a fun one. Actually, canister. And we have our oil filter, which comes out like so. My ring came off. I still have oil in here. Let me dump this out. Okay. Turn this upside down here. We'll let that drain out there for a few minutes, and then we will come back. Okay, so we let this thing drain here a little bit. Get the excess oil out of it. And we look down in here. Yeah, other than being a little dirty, let me get this situated here so I can wipe that out. Having some black oil in there. Other than that, there doesn't appear to be anything going on inside the filter unit. Now, when I restored the 880 back in 2022, I got a new seal kit for this piece here because it was leaking oil. There's a seal at the back of it here, the bolt. Yeah, right down, boy, right down in here. Kind of hard to see it. It's an O-ring is what they've replaced it with. Now that had a different seal in there, but this is more of an O-ring that was replaced, and it fits down inside here. There's a little bit of a recess in there, down in this washer right in here, and then that O-ring seal sits down in there, and then when you torque it down, fits up to the flat part of your can back here to seal the oil out of it. And anyway, the original one, of course, it was leaking, and it was, you know, 55 years old or so, so it was flattened out and pretty hard, and, you know, it was once made of rubber, but just wasn't doing the job anymore. So we'll wipe all that out, and yeah, we're pretty clean down in there. So that's good. So we'll set this here. We also have this little alignment piece here that fits inside the hole of the filter and kind of keeps it from wobbling around too much in there. When you get it bolted together, of course, it seals on the engine block there. Okay. All right, very good. So we will get things set up here. We've got a new filter. These are the original type filters. Let me get the new one here. And we've got a replacement here. Now this is made by Wix. I got this from David Brown Parts over in England. See, that ain't even the same. That's not the right one, is it? That's much larger. Huh. I'll be damned. I don't think that's gonna fit in there, is it? Okay, ain't that a bummer? That's not even gonna fit in the can. Great. I thought that was wrong when I saw that thing. I mean, look, it's it ain't even gonna fit in the damn can. Okay, well, we're gonna have to find a new filter and do this a different way, won't we? We shall return. Okay, so our filter just sits inside of our canister here, like so. Now I've got some oil in here, and I like to put oil on both ends. Something is jacked up with this camera. All right, we'll do this. Hi, Beckley. Hi, Beckley. Okay, so what is normally a simple task of changing the oil on Brownie here turned out to be a complete disaster. And the reason for that is the oil filter that I got in. Now, I ordered these from David Brown Parts back in January. The order came in, I think, the 1st of February, and I counted, yeah, I got all the things that I ordered. I didn't actually open the box, look at the product, or even check the number. Now this number, 87643, shows up as going to the 50T/50TD tractors. That's not the one I want for my Select-O-Matic. The Select-O-Matic is the 902125. Now I ended up getting one from Reliable Aftermarket Parts here in the US, and it came in, I got it, this was a Friday that we tried to change the oil on Brownie, and obviously the filter wasn't going to work. Saw that from the video. And so I decided to go ahead and put the thing back together. I put my new oil in it, and I put the filter back in. Now that's kind of a question I'll put out there to all of you. Do you leave the filter out? Because we have a canister. We could have easily just put the canister on with no filter. Or do you go ahead and reuse your old filter? I deemed it, let's go ahead and reuse the old filter. My hope was I wouldn't run it much. Although that particular weekend I was doing spraying out here on the property, and so I kind of wanted to finish that up. As luck would have it, early Saturday morning we had a tree come crashing down. A big honey locust came across our driveway, which blocked us from being able to leave the property. So we had to use Brownie, of course, with the claw on the front end, to cut the tree up and extract it out of the driveway. Many loads. We spent about 4 hours cutting and hauling it out, piled it up out here at the burn area. Oddly enough, the winds were light, non-existent, so I was able to actually burn it in the same day, the debris we took out of there, which is unheard of, but it worked out okay anyway. So Brownie ran most of the day that day. We ran it doing that. And so I'm glad I did put the oil back in it. I did call my local case dealer here. This was later on Friday afternoon. Of course, they didn't have the filter, so we were kind of stuck with, okay, put the old one back in or leave it out. But it's very aggravating to order the part. I looked at the invoice. I did order the 902-125 filter, and they checked it, and they just picked the wrong filter when they boxed everything up. And so that's disappointing, but there again, you learn a lesson. Not only count how many pieces you've got, but open it up and check it out and make sure that it is the right one, because if it isn't, you're going to be stuck. Oddly enough, they use Wix filters, which the last filters I got from them were not Wix. The Wix filter for the 902-125 is a 51313. If you use Napa, it's just the 1313. And the difference in the filters, as we showed in the video, the size of it, particularly the height of the filter. There's no way that this filter will even fit in the can because it's considerably taller than the filter you need. So anyway, check your parts when you order them, when you get them in. Make sure that you've got the right number and the right part. I do have an extra filter. The video locked up. I was trying to show how to install the filter in the canister and all that, which is relatively simple, self-explanatory. But we didn't get any video of that. It does come with a seal. This is kind of like an O-ring, although it's not round, that fits into the groove in the block. The only thing I do on this is I do take this and coat it in oil. I coat it with the clean oil so that I can insert it into the slot around where the filter canister pushes into it, and that oil helps to seal it, just like if you have a canister filter and you want to put oil around that seal on those before you screw them back in. So anyway, the oil change, we got the new filter put on there. I didn't change the oil on. The oil still looked pretty good. I lost a couple of quarts on it. I think we had some issues with the sealing because I didn't replace the seal around it because I thought, hell, it'll work, you know. Well, it didn't work, so I lost a little bit of oil on that, so I did top it off with clean oil. So all in all, we got the oil changed. We got a new filter in there. We've got new oil in there, and so we're pleased with that. But yeah, check your parts when you get them in. I hope you enjoyed our video. Hope this has been fun for you to watch some of the calamities going on here. If you like them, give us a thumbs up. You know, leave us a comment. What would you do? Leave the oil filter out? Put the dirty one back in? It had 100 hours on it. The service, you want to do 125 hours on your oil changes, so it was pretty close to time to change it anyway, but you know, what would you do on that? So until our next video, thanks for watching.